The top performers are proudly sponsored by Warrington Wolves Supporters Trust Squad Builder. Here are your top performers from round number 17 of the Betfred Super League. The top try scorers this week, each with a brace: Tui Lolohea of the Huddersfield Giants, Lachlan Walmsley and Josh Rourke of Wakefield Trinity, and Kyle Felt of St Helens. The top try assisters also each had two: Tui Lolohea of Huddersfield Giants, Mason Leno and Josh Rourke of Wakefield Trinity, and George Williams of the Warrington Wolves. The top metre maker of the round was Bailey Hodgson of the Lee Leopards, 231 metres. Whilst the most tackleables also came at the LSP from Tessie New, he got 12. The most clean breaks came from Matt Duffy of the Warrington Wolves with 4. Whilst the most hard meters made down the middle, you've got to be a prop forward, second row loose forward in this one. Gaius Fire Tilly of Wakefield Trinity, 132 metres. The top tackler of the round was at the SCS Stadium. Jack Almonroyd of Salford Red Devils got 49, and Oliver Partington got 49 also for the Catalan Dragons. And the best goal kick of the round with 6 was Max Jowett, albeit it was 6 from 9. These are your top performers from round number 17. This production comes to you in association with the Bluebell Warrington. Situated in an 18th century building in the town centre and just a 5-minute walk from the HJ Stadium, the Bluebell is the perfect destination for pre- and post-game food and drink. The 2024 Warrington Pub of the Year is now the official home of Super League Raw on Warrington Wolves match days for both home and away supporters. Super League Raw are delighted to have agreed a members-only area, allowing our community to come together to discuss rugby league pre- and post-match. So set your course to the Bluebell Warrington on match days and beyond. You are sure to be greeted with a warm welcome and a cold beer. Super League Raw and the Bluebell, the perfect partnership in enhancing your match day experience. So good evening and welcome to Super League Raw Weekly. Well, what's going on here? I've changed that around. Welcome, of course, to Super League Raw Weekly. Great to have your company on this Tuesday evening. And wonderful titles this week. Lots of familiar faces there. And, of course, the last one, 3 men and a legend, little Ollie there at Hull KR. Great to see the boys meeting up with Ollie before the game. As always, full panel. Joel is back. We're worried about your health, wealth and well-being, Mr. Joel. We won't tell them about your big win this week for your stocks and shares. We'll keep that private. But everybody's delighted to have you back, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good to be back. Missed everyone.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely marvellous. Good evening to Debbie Hasty, who's with us. Greg Roach is with us. Adam Reeves, Peter Gordon. Hello, Pete. Pete, go over to YouTube, mate. You're on Facebook. We try and invite everybody to go over to YouTube. It helps us to grow the channel, mate. Mark Smith's with us. Keith Lambert. Oh, yeah. Tom Masters with us. Matty Timms. Oh, yes. We'll give plenty of shout-outs throughout the show. We've got a big one for you today because, of course, we've got the June Awards to do and, of course, plenty of things to discuss along the way. So without further ado, gentlemen, one of the easiest coach of the months ever, because believe it or not, only one coach won all their Super League games in June. Everybody took a game off at least each other. Unbelievable. Bar Hull KR. And it also happened to be that they won the Challenge Cup as well. So the easiest one we've ever had to do, no debate, it's Willie Peters. He's the only coach to have won all three in the month of June. Everybody else had at least one defeat. What do you make about that then, Mr. Nixon?
Yeah, yes, it's no mean feat. Backing up, coming off a win at Wembley can sometimes trip you up the week after. So that's fantastic to back up a win at Wembley by winning the rest of your games in the month. So fully deserved as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, Steph's racking his head there. I could see him racking his head. Are you comfortable with his newly shaved head, ladies and gentlemen? Let's not forget his summer cut that he's got, especially for Super League Raw tonight. It's proper Lionel Blair. He's following me and Greg. Yes, an easy one, this one, Steph.
Yeah, very, very easy one. Brilliant month again for KR and for Willie Peters. So well deserving of Coach of the Month.
Yes, absolutely. Got off to a shocking start in July, but we won't go there just yet. Yeah, outstanding stuff. Mr. Scholes, some very impressive wins there as well. 68 points put on the Dragons and 0 against the Tigers. And as Steph would rightly say, Joe, no mean feat to beat Trinity in their current form. And, Trinity gave them a real proper dig in round 16. And fair play to Willie's men. They came good in the end, didn't they?
They did. And I think people think it's very easy to be at the top and remain and be at the top when you're winning games, but that's the hard thing about being at the top. You've got an expectation on you to keep winning, and especially when it comes to after Wembley, they always say that there's a dip. Well, there wasn't with KR, and that's what's the most impressive thing. Then they backed it up. Taking on Catalan, whose season's been up and down this season, more down than up. But they've been able to put in some impressive performances. And obviously, taking on Wakefield like they did, who are really high flyers at the moment. So, yeah, for them to be at the top and winning by as many as they have, bar this last week, which we'll discuss later, is very, very impressive.
Yes, everybody very happy with Steph's haircut. Some suggesting that he goes to places where Labradors are trimmed. I think that's a bit harsh, Mr. Sale. Very harsh indeed.
Wow.
But great to see the banter is already free-flowing in the chat. I'm sure you'll get your own back on the WhatsApp group a little bit later on, sir. Right, okay, so we've done the coach. That was dead straightforward. It is now time. We're going to get straight to it, folks. We're going to go straight in. Packed show tonight, as always. Good evening to Nicola Burton, she's with us. There's the kisses, boys. We've got them as always. Well done, Nick. Good to see you. Right, it's now time for us to announce the team of the month for June. Here it is.
Take a look at you and me. Are we too blind?
Team of the month is sponsored by David Presley as Elvis. If you want your wedding all shook up, contact David Presley today. Here is the Super League Raw Team of the Month for June. Starting at full-back and keeping his place month on month is Jai Field of the Wing Warriors. 3 tries, 3 assists, 12 tackle busts, 3 clean breaks, 48 carries for 315 metres. On the wing is Hull KR's Tom Davies. 6 tries, 1 assist, 13 busts, 9 breaks, 60 carries for 543 metres. In centre is Jack Broadbent of Hull KR. 3 tries, 5 assists, 14 tackle busts, 5 clean breaks, 44 carries for 355 metres. Also from KR at centre is Petter Hiku. 2 tries, 3 assists, 6 tackle busts, 2 clean breaks, 45 carries for 386 metres. On the wing is Kyle Felt of St Helens. 7 tries, 11 busts, 9 breaks, 8 goals, 47 carries for 442 metres. Still, At standoff is Mikey Lewis of Hull KR. 3 tries, 3 assists, 11 busts, 8 breaks, 46 carries for 317 metres. Alongside him still is Lachlan Lamb of the Lee Leopards. 4 more assists, 7 busts, 6 attacking kicks, 19 kicks in general play, 25 carries for 92 metres. In the front row, keeping his place month on month, is Gaius Vitelli. 1 try, 2 offloads, 13 tackle busts, 88 tackles, 46 carries for 352 metres. At number 9 is Jared O'Connor, who was left out of the England squad. Why, oh why? 123 tackles, 27 from marker and 94% tackle efficiency. 1 assist, 5 dummy runs and 69 metres. At prop is Alex Wormsley, still leading the hard meter making charts. 1 try, 16 busts, 2 offloads, 36 tackles, 46 carries for 363 metres. In second row and welcome along for his debut is Josh Griffin of Wakefield Trinity. 1 try, 90 tackles at a 96% efficiency, 5 busts, 32 carries for 216 metres. Alongside him in second row is Callum Watkins of the Leeds Rhinos. What a welcome home this has been. 2 tries, 3 offloads, 81 tackles, 6 tackle busts, 42 carries for 296 metres. And at loose forward, and welcome back to Cameron Smith of Leeds Rhinos. 3 tries, 70 tackles, 90% efficiency, 8 tackle busts, 39 carries for 224 metres. On the bench this month will be Tristan Saylor of the Saints, Jake Connor of the Leeds Rhinos, Morgan Knowles of St Helens and Ben Curry of the Warrington Wolves. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your team of the month for June. So there you go, gents. That is the team of the month for the month of June. Steph, you're top of the screen, so we'll start with you. A lot of Robins in there, you'd expect that. Also good to see some Leeds Rhinos faces in there as well. Your thoughts on the team of the month?
Yeah, phenomenal team. That team would do some damage, wouldn't it, in Super League week in, week out. So yeah, brilliant team. Callum Watkins, great to see him. What a signing that's been for Leeds. No coincidence their form's dramatically picked up since he came into their squad. So yeah, and Jared O'Connor as well, really unrecognised for me this year, but I think he's been superb for them. Obviously littered with KR players as you would expect. Josh Griffin as well, brilliant to see him in there for Wakefield with Fatilli. And Jai Field's been phenomenal for Wigan, hasn't he? Their best player for me this season. So really strong team of the month, that for me.
Yeah, lots of quality in loose forward, Greg. Hence the reason why Morgan Knowles. I mean, it was a real close call. Cam Smith, Morgan Knowles, and Ben Curry. Cam Smith, over the course of the 3 games, just slightly edging it. But the other 2 also well deserving of a spot on the bench.
Oh yeah, I mean Ben Curry's been our best player during that time. I've no doubt about that. Morgan Knowles looks like he's he was a bit off his game last season. I think it looks like him and Cameron Smith this season have got back to the form of a couple of seasons ago, which is good to see with the Ashes coming up. I think that team is very reflective of the teams that are doing well in the league at this moment in time. You know, Hull KR, Wakefield, Leeds have been the kind of the standout teams, if you like. And there's been a couple of others, but they've been the real standout teams over the last month or so. So yeah, really reflective of where things are going at this moment in time.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more on that. Also in there as well, Tristan Saylor, Joel, who, let's be fair, had a lot of pelters in his early, certainly from rounds 1 to 10 for Saints, but he can only beat what's in front of him, and he's had a really solid June as well. People will point to the opposition, but it's hard to ignore the stats that he produced.
What's really impressive about that is the fact that Saints were so underwhelming when the season started. Tristan not really having a spot, not knowing where to put him. And then Paul Williams has finally found a position for him where he's flourishing. And now then to see these 4 Saints players in that team there, if I'm right. 4 players in the Saints team. I think we'd have all, at the beginning of the season, if asked if they'd have been in the team of the month, we'd have laughed at them. But this just shows how the resurgence of St Helens is coming through, and they're really playing some good rugby. And it's just right that these players are giving the props in kind. Being part of the team of the month, and it's a It's an incredible accolade. And then we ask the question: has Leeds now got a possibility of a start of emergence of the old Leeds Rhinos? Are we going to start to see them coming through in the next few years and challenging again week in, week out?
Well, exactly. I mean, it's great to see, like I say, new faces as well. There's a couple that have retained the place, Jaifield being one of those, Mikey Lewis, Lachlan Lamb, they've also retained their place in team of the month on month. I think Ben Curry might have been loose forward last time. He's now on the bench. Jake Connor, I think Jake Connor might have been in the last one. But anyway, couple keeping the positions. And of course, they've now got 2 additional points towards the Super League Raw trophy at the end of the season. Now, as the people who watch us every month know, one of those 1 to 13 will be announced at the end of the show as our player of the month for June. Don't tell us who you give it to just yet. We'll invite that a little bit later in the show, but they are the 13. You can't pick anybody on the bench because, of course, they weren't good enough to start. It's the 1 to 13 that you're picking from. So just let that play over in your mind a little bit between now and the end of the show, and we'll give a couple of shout outs at the end of the show as to who you would give it to out of those selections. Right, let's get into some news. Banging or hanging?
This is what would I rather say at Super League Raw. So I thought back about the Hull KR Leeds game, and I thought that loss did Rovers good, and I think that it'll also make Rovers think that rather than going into every game and winning, it shows us that we need to put 100% into every game. I would also just like to say, if Pape's try against Wigan was pure class, the hands down the line and then to get it back inside was just amazing. And I think that shows the standard of rugby league and shows that rugby league is still one of the best sports in the world. What do you think, Super League Raw?
So there you go. The question has been asked by Ollie. Joel, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts?
Can I ask, how old is Ollie?
He's 12.
That is 11 that's a very mature outlook on the way your team's playing. Ollie, well done, buddy. That's really impressed me. That, yeah, you can definitely see he's got a career in rugby league journalism, hasn't he? There we go. Well done, Ollie. Yeah, I think he's very right to question his team's performance and the way they look at things, and that doesn't take away at all from Leeds. Leeds were absolutely brilliant. They were so good, but we all kind of did expect Hull KR to come out on top, and I guess, and I don't want to go too much into this right now, but like Danny Maguire says, do you fall in love with yourself a little bit? I don't think that's happening, but certainly Hull KR do need to be very careful. It shows that if you're not on your A game, and that if you do make the odd mistake and error, it will be taken, and a team will take advantage of it. And Leeds clearly did that. So yeah, I'm definitely with Ollie on that. And once again, very well done, Ollie. Very impressed with you there, buddy.
Yeah, a very impressive young man, Reggie. Very happy that we gave Ollie his own slot. Your comments on Ollie's opinions this week?
I've got a confession to make. I didn't hear the question. The screen froze.
All right, fair enough. Well, we'll jump to Steph then, Steph.
Repeat.
Yeah, no, I think sometimes Ollie's bang on. You need that kind of result, just to remind you that you're not invincible, and especially not at home at Craven Park, because it is such a fortress. That maybe is a bit of a lesson for KR, that they have to be on it, and they are more so with their execution, because those 3 early bomb tries from them really cost them that game. So they'll definitely have the ball handling skills in training this week, just to make sure they're not missing those opportunities, because they work so hard for them. You've got to finish them off. So I fully expect them to be more accurate in the game against Lee this week.
Absolutely, and Greg, he particularly liked the Lee try against Wigan. Did Ollie in his comments? Right to pick up on that. It was only eclipsed by the one that he saw scored against his team at the weekend, but it was a great try.
was a toss-up between which one was try of the week with those two. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, the lead try. Very, very similar tries in a lot of ways. I think if I get the gist of the question, it's as will the defeat do more harm than good against KR? I think it'll do them good. And I think it's made them realise that maybe they do have to have a contingency if Mikey Lewis isn't available, and that that they need to put more plans in place to replace him, like looks like they're going to have to do against Lee.
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to be a belting game at the weekend. Great stuff. Well done, Ollie. As always, champion effort from you. Right, we're all going to stay on the screen for a couple of these. We're going to start with this. Obviously, myself and Steph broke the news last night on Round Unpacked. And, of course, we put our opinions out on this. So we'll stay quiet and invite Joel and Greg onto this one. Danny Maguire. I want to start by asking you, gentlemen. Joel, I'll start with you. Was it the right decision in the first place to part company with Craig? I mean, it was quite interesting because somebody on our YouTube channel said that I was talking in hindsight, that I should have said my piece about Danny Maguire when he got the job. And as everybody knows, I did at the time. But Joel, was it the right decision to part company with Lingard and bring Danny Maguire in?
No, it wasn't. And that's the biggest thing of it all, is that Lingard, in my opinion, regardless of our views of Craig Super League Raw, I think he was the man to look at the long term. And you've got to look at the cards he were dealt. They weren't very good cards, and he did the very best that he could. And we know that Craig is such a great guy. Any player would be so happy to work under Craig, just because of the type of man he is. Not that he's from Yorkshire at all, right? But he's just a wonderful person. And I think then that the fact that they brought Danny in the manner that they had suggested to us at the time that he was in there for the long haul. And the concerning thing for me is, if you're a Cast fan, is are they making these snap decisions about someone that they managed to, in my opinion, and I might be wrong, underhand Craig and end up putting Danny in the position that they did. And that says more about the upper echelons of the management at CAS, and that is what is a little bit worrying. So whatever decision they make next is going to be extremely key, very key. And if they don't get it right, there's going to be a lot of CAS fans that will be very open and show their distaste towards it. So they've got to be very careful.
Yeah, I think so as well. Greg, who takes over from him? Of course, Chester is going to be an interim role between now and the end of the season. There's a lot of people out there that are looking for jobs. Who do you think? I mean, the big problem that I think Jepson has got here now at Castleford is, I think that the way in which Lingard departed, it sort of smelt a little bit funny, that it was probably not done in the right way. He brought Danny in and said that he brought Danny in because he saw him as a step up from Craig. He had better connections in the game and all that type of stuff. Now he's got rid of Danny after 18 games. Yeah. Does that make it a bit of a poison chalice?
Oh, it would appear so, wouldn't it? I don't think Maguire has been given enough time. 2 weeks ago they were on the verge of beating Wigan, which is no mean feat. You usually get these coaches given at least a season and a bit, especially when you consider that Casford are probably not going to finish bottom this year. Going back to the two, there's an obvious choice out there, whether he'd take the job or not. Steve McNamara is looking for work. Would he take on the Casford job, given the kind of the way they've treated the last two coaches? I don't know, but he kind of pulled Catalans up by the bootlaces and turned them around. So for me, if they have any ambition of doing well, they'll approach Steve McNamara.
Well, I'm hoping to sit down with Steve in the next 48 hours, so that might be something that we can maybe get an exclusive on. That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? Good evening to Sammy Holt. Sammy Holt is with us. Oliver Stokes also mentioning Steve McNamara. Before we move on from this, thanks for that, gentlemen. Myself and Steph had our say on this last night. If you want to hear what me and Steph had to say, then go over to our YouTube channel once we're done tonight, and there is a 10-minute discussion that me and Steph had when this one broke. But for the interest of time, we won't repeat ourselves. We'll just crack on. Before we crack on from this, Greg wrote saying, which was the best long-range try. Tuilola Hayes, Lees or Leeds. I think he's hoping for a bit of Giants love. Sorry, you're not getting any from me. The Leeds one for me. Anybody changing their mind, putting another one forward, or was Leeds the best?
Yeah, agree.
Yeah, absolute class. Absolute class. Right, boys, let's get into the next one together. And it's this game on as the Super League hots up, and boy, does it hot up. I mean, Robin's had a big chance to go 6 clear. They haven't taken that. Warriors would have certainly had a breathed a sigh of relief having gone down to Lee. Suddenly the Rhinos are probably looking at a top 2 finish. They'll fancy it. They'll absolutely fancy it. And then, of course, the battle for the playoffs, as it were. Again, this could become a lot clearer when we get past this weekend. But again, Steph, I'll bring you in first as the lads just had a quick chat about Danny Maguire. Wow. I mean, suddenly now, like I said there, it's hotting up, isn't it? This is going to be a cracking week ahead.
Yeah, definitely. It's not over for even Warrington. You know, they're only 2 points off that 6th place at the moment. So, if they can start to string some performances together, get a bit of confidence, who knows? But yeah, it's a phenomenal race, right down to Warrington for who's going to get in this playoffs. So, we've got 10 rounds left now. It's going to be really exciting, and that's what we all want.
Yeah, absolutely. We can't wait for it, can we? Like I said, I mean, Greg, the Rhinos. I mean,
yeah,
you can understand why they're getting a little bit giddy in the fact that they've just gone and beaten a team that looked invincible, and they did look invincible, and they proper beat them. I'm not having anything. They were in the tussle for the whole game, and they proper beat them. If you were a Leeds Rhino fan, would you be getting giddy?
Yeah, I would, because Leeds have got a track record of doing this, haven't they? In the past, they've performed really poorly for the first half of the season, and then really got it together and gone on to win a grand final. So maybe giddy's not the word. Optimistic, hopeful. I think that result against KR was probably the worst possible result as far as Warrington are concerned. They could have done with KR winning that. But yeah, if you're a Rhinos fan, you will be cautiously optimistic that you are going to make a late charge and get into those playoffs and do really well.
Yeah, Joel. I mean, look. At the end of the day, I think the next 4 rounds for KR. And I can't believe I'm saying this. We're going to learn a lot about KR. I think on Saturday at the LSV, because they'll be very disappointed coming off the back of that loss to Leeds. No Mikey Lewis as well on Saturday, and they're coming up against Lee. Then they've got Catalan away. Then they've got Salford away. Then Castleford away. They're the next 4. Then after that, listen to this for a lineup for KR. So if there's any jittery nature about KR, it's going to be found out, because after that they go to Wigan, then they go to Leeds, then they're at home to Saints, then they play the Derby, then they go to Trin, and they finish against Warrington. Now that is a hell of a running for KR. Now if they carry on, if they just brush off the Leeds loss and carry on regardless, they should be fine for the League Leaders Shield. But if this rocks them, and we haven't seen them rocked yet this season, it could get very, very interesting in those top 3 places, Joel.
Yeah, this is a major part of the season for them. We always talk about the business end of the season, which is right at the end. But this for KR more than anybody is the most crucial, because you look from now, you look at the table and you put on a post, didn't you, regarding is this a dreadful season or is it a good season that we've had? Look. You've got second who are 4 points behind. Third, you're looking 6 points, then 7 points, all the way down to pretty much 6th place. From 5th to 1st, it's so close that had you gone a couple losses and then your confidence starts going down, then it's squeaky bum time. I don't think KR will do that, but man, they have got a heck of a run. And they're gonna have to really prove to everyone and themselves that they're as good as we all think they are, and they probably know that they are. But once again, it goes down to discipline. Not having Mikey in the team, is it going to make that much of a difference? Probably not. I think it's just more that with having Mikey in the team, you've got more tries per game, possibly with what he does. But I don't think it impacts on the wins, not at all, because they've got such a depth. But yeah, this is their key point. The end of the season is not going to be an issue for them. It's now. they've got to bounce back from this and start winning.
Yeah, if they consolidate over the next 4 games, and don't get me wrong, I say consolidate, they've got a big battle on their hands come Saturday. That's going to be to be missed. But yeah, if they can consolidate in the next 4 games, then yeah. But I think, certainly this one at Lee, if they were to go down to Lee on Saturday, it is game on. I mean, it really is game on. If they was to go to the LSV and turn on the style without Mikey, that would be a right statement of intent, and I think they would. I think they'd probably go on with a wet sail from there on in. It's a fascinating season. Anybody who says this isn't the greatest game on earth, give your heads a wobble. People who say our game is dead and it lacks skill, well, it certainly ain't dead. Look at the league table. Lacks skill. Go and look at some of the tries this weekend. We've already mentioned 3. Yep. You don't know what you're talking about. Rugby league on the terraces, on the field. It's very, very in good fine fettle. It's off the field. That's where the problem lies. Not in stadia. So there you go. Right, boys, where are you tomorrow? Well, some of you, I'm sorry, Greg. I'm really sorry, Greg, when I say this and Joel, but I know where I'll be at 10 o'clock, and I know where Steph might be at 10 o'clock. Oh, yes, it's the State of Origin decider, 10 o'clock in the morning, Sky Sports. Gentlemen, it'd be wrong of us not to have a little bit of salivation when it got... Cunning linguistics again. Salivation about this game. What a game of rugby league this is going to be. It's set up perfectly. Oh, the Queensland boys did us proud in that. Well, say us, I'm a blue. But did the State of Origin proud that second game. And now we've got to decide it. It doesn't get any better than this. Steph, please tell me you've moved your viewings here, there and everywhere. And you'll be sat with your feet up at 10 o'clock watching the finest game on earth.
It's 11 o'clock kickoff. Is that right?
That's at 10.
Yeah, I have got a viewing at 10, but I should be back for the kickoff. So, looking forward to this one. It should be a brilliant game, perfectly set up, 1-1 in the series. It's always a classic when we have this situation. The good games anyway, aren't they? But to have the series on the line, it's going to be not must-see TV.
Must-see TV. I can confirm that Danny Richardson has been recalled by KR. A little bit of that's going on in the chat. I will confirm that. Greg, one place that you can't afford to be tomorrow, if you're not watching this live, I don't know if you are or you're not, is in the chat of the Super League World WhatsApp group. Can I ask all of our members, please keep Origin chat in the watch-along group. Don't put it in the debating group. There will be some of our members that are working tomorrow and will want to watch it when they get home. So only the watch-along group discuss Origin, please. Keep it out of every other group. Greg, this should be an absolute belter, whether you're watching it live or not. This is must-see TV, isn't it?
It is, mate. It is. The first 2 games have been absolutely magnificent. I think somebody commented that the last game was dull and boring. Well, give your head a massive wobble. It was brilliant. I unfortunately, the people I work for decided to have their graduation day of all days on the State of Origin decided. Words will be had with management tomorrow, I can tell you. But yeah, I'll be like the likely lads, avoiding the England score tomorrow. So there's one for you oldies. So can't wait to get home, get in front of the TV. Probably with Zoe after she gets home from school and watch it and just enjoy what is, what it has got the potential to be an absolutely fantastic game.
Yeah, absolutely. And Joel, there might be people that have stumbled across Super League recently. We've met a few as part of the Super League Raw community that have only discovered Rugby League relatively recently and are getting into the sport. And some of them might never have watched Origin. I know that for us is hard to comprehend, but it's true. So, Mr. Scholes, go on, do your best, Bossy. Sell this one. Why should people put this on record and watch it?
I want to do it as much justice as I can. The only justice that you can have by the game is by watching it. And everyone's heard of the Super Bowl. Absolutely everyone's heard of the Super Bowl. This is the Super Bowl, but a million times better. I'm sorry for the NFL fans. It is. It's no pads, no helmets. Maybe you've got some helmets on, possibly. There will be a couple lads that will have them on because they like their hair and their ears too much. But there's no pads, no protection. The most incredible attacking and in some cases defensive displays you'll ever see on a rugby field. And I don't think there's any rugby league game. I don't even think the World Cup comes even close to it for me, for State of Origin. If you are a purist of rugby league, State of Origin is the one. You have got the best players on the planet going face to face, 13 versus 13, and there is always the biggest controversy. There's bring back the base, there's everything.
Well, you always get a bit of biff, even though
Oh,
it's
you always get a biff.
you still get a bit.
Always. And the fact that you're seeing some of the most technically skillful players. They talk about football being skillful and technical. They've seen nothing until they've seen the state of origin, and that's what you've got to see. Russell Crowe is the one who gave the best introduction to rugby league. If you ever get a chance on YouTube, go and watch it. How Russell Crowe described rugby league, and you see some of the state of origin players playing in that. This is the best game in the world played by the best players, and you've got to watch it.
Spot on.
Yeah.
Spot on. The greatest athletes in the world. The gladiators that are rugby league athletes. That's what they are. Absolutely incredible fare in the morning. Can't wait for this one. Right, boys, before we move on, it'd be a miss of us not to do this. Which way is it going to go, Steph? Maroons or Blues?
We're Blues.
You going Blues, Greg?
I'm a Maroon, so I'm going for the Maroons.
And Joel?
It's going to be a Blues win.
Yeah, I think Blues. I'm going Blues. Nige Bennett going Queenslander in the chat. Good lad, Nige. If you're new to Super League Raw, if you're on YouTube, Steph always shouts me for not mentioning this. If you want your comment read out, we do prioritise our members. But if you want to be guaranteed a shout out, if you want your comment read, you need to do super chats on YouTube to guarantee your comment coming up. Right, okay. We'll do one more as a community, as a collective. Quota change on the cards. Looks like we're going to go up to 10 quota players. Greg, I'm going to start with you on this one. I'm really scratching my head on this, and I'll tell you why I'm scratching my head on this. We've already got many clubs up to salary cap now, and Australians don't come cheap. So even though we're going up to 10, unless there's a change in salary cap, which the sport probably can't afford, how are they going to afford the extra 4 quota spots?
I don't know, unless they go for South Sea Islanders. I don't know. I don't see the sense. I've seen a lot of comments on this on social media. Some saying we haven't got a big enough talent pool. Some saying it's because this is clearly pointing towards 14 teams in Super League. I would much rather money be ploughed into developing the game at grassroots level to bring the players through, so we don't rely on overseas players to come in. I just can't see. I don't understand the logic behind it, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. When we're trying to develop the game and we're trying to get homegrown international players that can take on the Aussies, that can take on New Zealand. I think I would much rather have seen something done to promote the youth coming through and homegrown talent coming through.
Joel, I mean, you can see the graphic there to put up on the screen for those listening to the podcast. I put JWH and Paul Vaughan, and I put Wellesby, and I put Mikey Lewis. Are we seeing the end, perhaps? Because like Vaughan and JWH, they don't come cheap. You know, people at that end of their career who've been there, done it all, they don't come cheap. Are we about to see the end of those type of Australians coming over as a consequence of this? Because what we do know, hence the Wellesby and the Lewis, is that a lot of marquee money is being given to those type of British talents. George Williams has had it at Warrington. We know that Saints have signed Wellesby up for a big contract. If OK have got any chance of keeping Michael Lewis, that's marquee money, or else he's off. The best chance they've got is that you give him a proper bit of wedge in his back pocket. He's probably going to go anyway, but that's not the point. So for me, do we expect now that, as Greg says, that it might not actually be those at the back end of the career? It'll be these ones that haven't made it yet in the NRL. We've seen loads of those over the years, good quality players. Is it those players that are going to come in that might not cost as much as these seasoned ones? What's your thoughts?
That's the key, and I think this is the emergence now of seeing the really young Queensland Cup boys, New South Wales boys, coming over and having their chance of showing the NRL what they're made of. Because for those that may not understand how the NRL works, it's a massive competition. It's huge. You know, you've got 17 teams. You've got massive squads, and a lot of these boys will never get a chance to play in the NRL. Down to many factors, you know, whether they get selection, injuries, and different things, or the fact that they just don't think they're up to grade because they've not got the opportunity to be on show. I think Super League is a great showcase for them boys because it helps us. Let's be honest; it's a great competition, and some of the players that we've seen come through. I think is it Tessin. I think he was he from one of them as well. We've seen Tristan Powell.
Fight at Wakefield.
Yeah, Vitaly, exactly. Yeah, Tristan Powell. I had the great chat with Tristan, and he said obviously he's played one game in the NRL, but most of his time was in the feeder clubs. So he said for him it's a massive opportunity. So it's not us taking a step back saying think right, is Super League a feeder league for the NRL? If it is, I couldn't care less. It's a fantastic bit of acquisition, I think, for the Super League, and I think the Super League can raise its stakes and raise the profile of some of these players. But then the question is, then what about us English boys? Well, the thing is, if we've got two more teams coming in, we've got to build a squad, and as we know, 30 players or so in a squad. You've got 60 players essentially that you need at least to bring through. We're not affording people from over in Australia 60 players worth. And this means now there's going to be some really good championship players that are going to come through into the Super League, and then some good League One players that get into the championship. So I see it as nothing but a good thing. There's always the naysayers and the people that think that this is going to be a bad acquisition. If they're the people that think like that, we don't want you here at Super League Raw, because for us, this is a game that we build up and we think there's a lot of opportunity here. And I think going to 14 teams is absolutely perfect. Yes, we don't have the money to get the JWHs. We don't have the money as people. You look at Edwin Pape. Look at now. He would bring a premium cost now. How he's done so well in Super League. Prior to that, he probably came at quite a steal. So you look at how these players have developed in Super League. Clearly shows that it's not just a feeder league. It's a league that people want to compete, and then once they get the chance to play in the NRL, these NRL boys are paying the Super League clubs big money to take them over, and then that enhances the Super League. So I don't see anything but positives for this.
The other thing on this as well, Steph, is the fact that, and I think Matt Pete might have come out and said this as well. We're going up to 10. Now, that's an extra 4 at each current club. If we are going to 14, we've got to find talent for those other. So actually, if the other clubs can take another 4, that's reducing the pool for the new 2 a little bit in terms of quality. But again, I think Matt Pete's mentioned about academies and about the importance of developing. And we said, I think last week, that what we do know about, the likes of Lee, Warrington have got a good academy at the moment. We know a lot of these, the established have had them for years. The game is in a good place, isn't it, at part level? And what we need actually is a vibrant, like the NRL have got a Queensland Cup. We need a vibrant second tier, don't we? And we need and I think there's a lot of talk about, dual reg is going to get looked at and things like that to make sure that this works better than it currently is.
Yeah, absolutely. And what it is for me with this, I have no problem whatsoever with the 10 quota spots. I think it's a brilliant move by the clubs. I think if you look at the talent that is in New South Wales Cup, Fertility is a prime example of that. If you can find the right ones, develop them, tie them down to contracts, then you are going to get them at a decent price rather than paying, marquee money from when they're established NRL. So I have no problem with the younger Queensland Cup guys coming over. What people are forgetting here is squads are 30 plus players now in Super League. Yeah. So there's 20 English opportunities. So 2/3 of a squad is going to be English still. That's more than enough opportunity. What we should be looking at is displacing some of the older English players who are probably robbing a bit of a living in Super League. And let's be honest, there's plenty of those about at the moment as well. So anybody who says there's no opportunity for youngsters is talking, well, it's rubbish. If you're good enough, you are going to come into a Super League squad. If you're a Mikey Lewis, you are going to get into a Super League team. And these are the players that are going to make England squads. So if you're good enough to make an England squad, then you are going to get into a Super League side. It's just fact. That's going to happen. If you're good enough, you will make it. All that's going to happen with this is it will dilute some of the lower end ones who potentially should be Championship and are playing in Super League. So what should happen is the quality should actually improve. And I'm going to use the blasphemy word on this sport, but if you look at football, there's no quota in football. There's some teams that have got majority of their squad are internationals, but yet England's still getting semi-cup finals and World Cup finals. So that argument for me is nonsense. If you are good enough as an English player, you have got plenty of opportunity. You've got 2/3 of a squad to make it in. So all that will happen is it'll just get rid of the ones who aren't good enough, and they'll go to championship teams.
For those people tuning in to Super League Raw for the first time this evening, do you hear the passion? Do you hear it? This isn't monotone. This is passion about the great game of rugby league. You don't get this anywhere else. We're passionate. We don't sit back and, drone on. No, this is passion. Come on. Beautiful stuff. Well done, Mr. Sale. Loving that. Right, we're going to say goodbye to Mr. Sale. We're going to say, no, we're not. No, we're not. We're going to say goodbye to Greg. We're going to say goodbye to Joel. And we're going to bring Mr. Sale in. This, of course, broke whilst we were doing Round Unpacked. Let's just go there very briefly. Hanging or banging. Rugby Football League. We've just come off the back of an incredible Round 17, Steph, that we should be celebrating the great game of rugby league and what magnificent fare we've got coming in our future. The jeopardy of the 2025 season. And what do they decide to do? Oh, yeah, we're going to hit Salford with a great big stick, even though everybody knows they're already probably going to not be there next year anyway. Your thoughts on the Rugby Football League?
Right, yeah, it's hanging this. There's absolutely pointless, isn't it? There's no need whatsoever. We all know what's happening. It's just, it's just a distraction. I think this, in terms of what, I don't think anybody who's a rugby league fan wanted to see this actually happen. At the time, obviously, I think there was quite a lot, and rightly so. We're a bit disgruntled, and I think Paul Rowley didn't cover himself in any glory in this decision. I think we all know what went on with it, and then hence why this is coming in. But we're in round 17 now. This is good. If they're going to do it after round 3. So that's why for me this is hanging. It's a waste of time, and it's just another negative in our sport at the moment we didn't need.
Especially off the back of a great weekend where Jeopardy's back in. I have to say, I said there, clickbait heaven. I've seen more clickbait on this just before we came on air, and it got posted yesterday. So they're feeding off it, and it's just going to go round like an hamster wheel. Well done, the Rugby Football League. What you should be doing is promoting what a great season we've got to look forward to in the back end. Who cares, quite frankly? Who cares? Do it behind closed doors. Goodbye to Steph. Hello to Joel. Joel, magnificent business. By the trend, Josh is going nowhere. Rocky boy for 2027. And we're talking about championship players that have come up. This boy is making his mark.
Yeah, and he's going to stay there, I think, for a long time. What I want to see from Josh now is regular game time. And it's not because he's not been playing well. It's because the likes of Jowett has been so good. And like any good club, they keep the players playing that are playing well. When you have it's your time to play, it's up to you then to keep your spot, and that's exactly what's happened. Now Josh Rock's got his chance. He has to keep his spot. We all said, didn't we, how much of a stellar season he had at London. He made. I think he probably stopped some of the scores being even bigger than what they were for London. Because he's such a good player. I think any club would have wanted to have him, and Wakefield has got a great acquisition there. And now to pen him down to 2027, that's a statement of intent, and he's clearly going nowhere.
Banging. Banging, absolutely. Yes, Joshy Rourke, we love a bit of Joshy Rourke. Outstanding try. For those who haven't seen In the Shed yet, go. I compare him to Mary Poppins, and rightly so. Practically perfect in every way with the bomb over the shoulder. Right, let's get rid of Joel. Let's bring in Master Nixon. Mr. Nixon, transfer deadline extended to the 28th of August. I just have a simple question for you. What on earth is the point in having a transfer window?
Absolutely none at all. This is hanging. Can't see the point of it to do this. I don't know what they hope to achieve by it. A hanging decision, I think.
Fantastic. I don't think I've ever heard you so quick. That's outstanding, sir. Absolutely outstanding. No point in messing around. It is absolutely banging. Right, Women's Super League returns. We aren't going to do a Nixon report tonight, but just so that everybody's aware, we do promote, of course, the women's game. These are the fixtures that are coming up. And, of course, it starts off with a double header. Of course, yet again, Sky will be showing the Leeds against Saints game. It starts at 5:30 on Friday ahead of the main game between Leeds and Saints. What a game that's going to be. We'll be discussing that a bit later. Barrow Raiders take on the Warrington Wolves. An opportunity there, perhaps for the Wolves, maybe. York Valkyrie take on the Lee Leopards at York. That should be a great game. Both of those games start at 12 o'clock on Saturday. And finally, the Wigan Warriors go up against the Huddersfield Giants. That is a 4 o'clock kickoff. So, sorry, no, that is a 2. It should be 1-4. 2 o'clock kickoff, that game. Right, okay. Just because you love it so much, let's do a bit of this.
Give your head a wobble.
Yes, it's time for Give Your Head a Wobble. Disclaimer time, ladies and gentlemen. This is 0.1%, if that, of your club, where nobody is hurt as a consequence of Give Your Head a Wobble. But if people are going to go online and talk utter nonsense, Super League Raw will be there to hold them to account. And we're going to start off, and I have to say, I'm really disappointed in this narrative. And I know that Craig Forfey's going to be equally disappointed. But we're going to start off with Dennis Platt of the Wigan Warriors this week, because Dennis says, might help if our captain inspired players instead of floating around like a wet lettuce leaf. That's Liam Farrell. That is the great Liam Farrell. The same Liam Farrell in this game that tackled 33 times, that actually ran the ball 16 times and made 106 metres. Just for your information, Dennis, that was more than any other of your forwards on the park against the Lee Leopards. So with the greatest of respect, Dennis, my friend, is all I'm going to say to you. Can you believe that? The mighty Liam Farrell.
I'd like to
going on with Wigan?
say that to Liam Farrell's face.
No, but what's going on? I mean,
Disrespect.
I don't get what's this narrative really? Why is it all Liam Farrell's fault?
I don't know.
Bonkers. Just accept the fact that at this moment in time, a great rugby league side, which it still is, he's going through a little bit of a patch, and all is not lost.
They didn't play bad against Lee, though. This is the thing that's annoying me. For 50 minutes, they were winning, beating us 8-0.
Yeah.
Mate, it's nonsense. Absolutely nonsense. Now, look, if we're talking about excuses, God love Peter Murphy. So Pete went on and said, Wigan and Warrington, and what do they have in common? Vegas at the beginning of the season. Maybe, just maybe, that has caused both teams to hit a wall. Well, the last time I looked, Wigan have had 2 weeks off. Just saying. So I don't know why you're putting Wigan in the same bracket as Warrington there. Warrington have been atrocious. But, I mean, look, you've had 2 weeks off. You didn't play a semi-final. You didn't play a Challenge Cup final. You're about to have another week off in a couple of weeks. Pete, mate, just accept defeat gracefully. The bus stop is truly mightier than the pie this week. Just accept the fact. Is all you've got to do. You've lost the series 2-1. Suck it up, big boy. You know you can. Right, okie dokie. We're going to stay we're just going to stay with Wigan. Again, I always say I think Wigan are a class outfit. You know, we've talked about other teams and about their fans just being a bit humble and, you know, I mean, keeping a level of dignity and respect. Thomas Stirk. Love Pete for everything he's done. But we're boring. We have no plan B. Got to start asking questions on Matt Pete. I could cry. Greg, would you have Matt Pete at Warrington tomorrow?
In a heartbeat, mate.
In a heartbeat. Steph, Nathan Lamdy Parts Lee, would you have Matt Pete?
That's what.
Of course you would. Oh,
very good coach.
You get in your car and drive him, wouldn't you, to Huddersfield?
Oh, it'd be stupid. I'd get him a helicopter.
No, absolutely, mate. You can afford it as well this week, by the sounds of it. Anyway, that's another story. We won't go there, will we? Right, okie dokie. I do love it when other fans go on. Again, what is going on with KR fans this year? Rather than just enjoy their own side, they're infiltrating other people's feeds. It's like, just enjoy your team, stay where you are, stop trying to wind people up. But no, it didn't stop Andy Arnold. Andy Arnold, you are never a coach, Sam Burgess. You're just stealing money.
Oh, gosh.
This is Sam Burgess, who very nearly got Warrington to a final last year, having beaten KR, and has gone to 2 Challenge Cup finals in 2 years, and he's not a coach. Andy,
great
mate,
Sam Burgess.
Andy, mate, come on. Come on.
Major head wobble.
This is the first crisis in Burgess's young head coaching career. Let's see how he navigates it before we start throwing him out with the bathwater. You know what I mean? Unbelievable stuff.
He's got 8 first teamers out.
But actually, just to be fair, well, that's true. But just to be fair, I don't want people thinking that I'm being unkind, Greg, to KR fans. Because Warrington fans are just as bad. Jesse Brady. It looks like they don't want to play for Sam anymore. What? Have you seen the relationship between Burgess and his players? Wow. Jesse, mate. No. Right.
Give Salford some credit for that performance on Friday.
Yeah.
Give Salford some credit. We weren't brilliant, but Salford finally, like they finally gelled. They got something together, some team spirit. So
Absolutely.
give them credit.
Now, I don't mind other fans going on other fans' feeds when they're funny. Simon Maple, this isn't a wobble. I just thought I'd put this in because I found it as I was looking for wobbles. Simon Maplewood, Leeds Rhinos fan, take a Bowser. This is comedy gold. He said, boasting about beating Salford is he's like having a hole in the roof and buying a door. Find a new front door. What a legend. Well done. And that's how you do it. If you're gonna do it, be funny when you do it. Absolutely outstanding. Somebody who wasn't outstanding, Glyn Hattersley of St. Helens. So St. Helens, off the back of winning FC, you think, yeah, happy days, take it, run, keep moving forward. Good win. Makes you wonder, do we need Jack Wellsby? Glyn, mate, that wasn't one of your better days, was it? Stay off the vodka, son. No. You don't want to be doing that. You don't want to be doing that at all. Again, another guy who infiltrated, I think it was a KR fan on an FC page again. Comedy gold, well done. It got a couple of people riled. He said, so glad I ignored me dad and I chose Rovers. Well done, Paul. Great effort, good effort. And finally, I want to just give another shout out to a Saints fan. And this time it's Phil Legg. And he said, I'm afraid Walmsley and Parzy's past injuries and ages are beginning to tell. Neither can burst tackles now. Okay, Phil, you've gone there. So here we go. Just for your information, before you shoot, do your homework. Just to let you know, Mr. Walmsley is the 6th highest tackle buster in Super League 2025. And he's also done the most meters as a front row forward. Phil, mate.
Well, I think it's fair to say, yeah, he's not got a leg to stand on there, has he?
He's definitely not got a leg to stand on. Not at all, mate. Not at all. Definitely not got a leg to stand on. Absolutely shocking effort from Phil. So there you go. Give your head a wobble. We know you like it. We've tried to be fair, and we've also put a couple of funny ones in. I think if you're going to infiltrate other people's feeds, be humorous. Don't go there just looking for trouble. Have a bit of a giggle. I love humour like that. That's what Rugby League's all about. Good quality humour. So massive congratulations to Simon Maplewood, who I think was outstanding. Paul Moffat, yeah, absolutely outstanding. Well done to you. Brilliant stuff. Well done indeed. Yes, right, okay. It's that time of the week. It's that time of the week where we're going to do the Team of the Week from Super League Raw. Here it comes. Team of the Week is sponsored by The Good Estate Agent. With an average turnaround time of 3 weeks, if you want your house sold quickly, then contact Stefan today on 01942 356 577. Quote Super League Raw for 33% off. It's the Super League Raw Team of the Week for round number 17 with The Good Estate Agent 2025. Here we go again, and at 1 is the man who doesn't need a Scot to help him to detect how to murder the Pies defence. Bailey Hodgson was simply cool and as calm as a tomato in my fridge under the bombs against the Warriors. And yes, Barbara Streisand may be on the phone this week for a sequel. At 2, well, if he dyed his hair and Tash black, you might be transported back to the 80s and Harry Enfield Scousers. No, he's not Harry, Barry or Terry, folks. He's Walmsley, and he's now got 7 tries for the season. At 3 is Tessie New, who is a cross between a steamroller and a cuddly bear, just like Mr. Team Rocky 3. If you want a prediction from Tessie before any game, it will be just a one word: pain. At 4 is the Leeds Rhinos captain, Ash Handler. He could almost be a plumber as he knows how to plug a hole in centre. He ran hot in the lead up to Miller's try and he gave the Robins a right good bath to wash away the dirt of complacency. At 5 is Kyle Felt, who provided Lewis Martin with a front row seat in front of the teacher to study wind play of the highest order. At times it must have felt like a detention, but providing Lewis is a good boy, learns from his experiences and revises hard, he'll pass the exam in the future. At 6 is Tui Lolohea, who showed his quality versus the Tigers. Rumour has it he changed the team song to "Oh Danny Boy, the pipes are calling," as Tui's performance and the Giants' win forces Chris Chester's hand to part company with Maguire. At 7 is Mason Lino Wakefield Trinity, and Lino, we know, is on top form this season, yes. Just like a Mason, he is constructed of the highest standard of natural stone, hard, durable, and is sure to add the finishing touch to any project. At 8 is Mikola Jelensky. Talk about a leading his team to 2 points. This was another slick and quick slalom of a performance down the middle from the big man, who, unlike JWH, allowed his rugby to do the talking, not his tongue. At 9 is Jared O'Connor, who once more provided the defensive steel his side needed against the Robins. He might not have the looks of Remington or the writing flair of Danielle, but he sure knows how to paint a picture of first-class tackling brutality. At 10 is the man who was not dream team but worthy of our team of the week this week, Matty Lees. He rolled out the welcome mat time and again to oncoming attackers and sent them away fully glossed and primed for their troubles. At 11 is Ethan O'Neill of the Leopards, who once again nailed Ensemble time and time again. Not since Daniel LaRusso have we seen hammering skills so efficient and accurate. At 12 is Callum Watkins of the Leeds Rhinos. There are Casios and then there are Rolexes, and Callum is surely befitting of the latter. Perfectly crafted, always on time in defence and attack. Yes, he's ticking along nicely, folks. And finally at 13 is the man who saved Burgess's blushes, Ben Curry. If Warrington had lost this game, talk about a scandal. Sam might have morphed into Edwina as his head appeared to be scrambled at full time. He must have been at boiling point, and yes, the Wires season would have been fried. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your team of the week for round number 17. The team of the week for round number 17 in the record books once again, Mr. Nixon. Good to see some new faces in there. Tui Lolohea getting his first outing in team of the week, and rightly so. Very good against Castleford.
Yeah, he's been good for a few weeks now. He's very good against Warrington as well. He can sniff out an interception. I think bring the players that have come back into Huddersfield's side over the last few weeks have allowed him to, show what a great player he is. Yeah, I've got no arguments with Lolohea being in there. I think he's been absolutely superb over the last few weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. You'd be delighted with that, Joel, I'm sure.
Very. Yeah, he's been building since he's getting. When I say return to 6, I know he's not been out, but he's been at 6 and been able to be a pure 6, having a proper 7 next to him, been able to generalise so he can just do what he does best. And that's where you see the best of Tui. And when Luke Robinson says he's one of the best attacking sixes in the league, I can see why he's saying that. A lot of people wouldn't agree with that, but when you look at how he plays when he's got a proper 7 next to him, you can really just see how he plays with a smile on his face, and the way he celebrates his tries. He just loves playing rugby. What he doesn't like doing is the generalising, being the general, having to be the captain almost, and that's where Tui struggles, and that's why you say that on his day he plays well, because on his day when he's got a good 7 next to him, he does play really well. So yeah, very happy.
Yeah, I think it's Andy Bibby in the comments there talking about Nick Karimu. He played well against Warrington, don't get me wrong, but we couldn't overlook Tui Lolohea. Tui Lolohea against Castleford was back to his best, wasn't he?
He was that good. I nicked his haircut. So yeah. So yes, no, he was outstanding, really, really good, and it's really good to see from a Huddersfield perspective, and that'll give him confidence going forward as well. But yeah, some really, really decent performances in this team. Walmsley again. The big benefit of this 10 quota is probably he's going to get a contract with Wakefield now, which is brilliant for him. And obviously on the other side, Kyle, I always felt he'd get in team of the week. So you missed that one then, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
So no, no, it was very, very, very good. Really good team. And Jared O'Connor, I think he's been outstanding this season. I know he's completely gone under the radar. His work specifically in defence is phenomenal. So really, really good to see him getting his just desserts in this week's team.
It was a travesty that he wasn't selected for the England squad last week, Jared O'Connor. Again, another incredible. I mean, for those who missed it, because I know that people listen intently for the puns, but just to cement this from a Jared O'Connor perspective, 43 tackles in that game, 9 from marker against KR. You take that out of that performance for Leeds, it's the difference between winning and losing. You know, we said last week, the defensive hookers and then there's running hookers. Jared O'Connor as a defensive 9 is, well, we proved it last week. Brad O'Neill can't hold a candle to him on form this season. I'm not saying Brad O'Neill's not a good player, but Brad O'Neill should not have been in that England squad over Jared O'Connor. Never in a million years. You know, look at it with your eyes, look at it with the stats. He's absolutely battering. But Jared O'Connor, again, absolutely superb. As you say, really pleased for Lachlan Walmsley as well. Just a quickie, Greg. In sport, sometimes players have a nemesis. Are we seeing a nemesis for Junior Nsembe in the shape of Ethan O'Neill? Because he's come up against him now a couple of times, and quite frankly, he's put Junior right in his place.
He's got in Junior Nsembe's head, hasn't he? Yeah, you're right. I think sometimes you do have those matchups where certain players know how to play certain players. And yeah, you're right. I think he's got into Nsembe's head here. And he just knows. He's probably studied Nsembe's game. And he probably knows what he's going to do and when he's going to do it and when he's going to chime in. And Nsembe is really, really good. And there's nothing wrong with this, by the way. This isn't a criticism. And Nsembe's really, really good at running at smaller players out wide. And that's where, he's been nullified against Lee.
Well, what I would say here, and, for those people that, look, nobody's been more banging the drum for Junior Nsembe. He's a quality player. But here's one for you. Up until this week, spoiler alert for the end of the show, up until this week, Junior Nsembe has led the tackle bust charts pretty much all season. Joel, I'll come to you. How many tackle busts did Junior Nsembe achieve? Top tackle buster in Super League up till round number 16. Round number 17 completed. How many tackle busts do you think he got against Lee at the weekend?
At least 5.
Not a single one.
Oh, right.
Not a single one. So
Wow.
Any Wigan fan who's thinking, hey, steady on, Dave, facts are facts. Facts are facts. Ethan O'Neill, Steph, appears to have Mr. Nsembe's number, doesn't he?
He does. He defends him very well, and I think we saw that in round 1, a precedent he set in that game. I thought he completely nullified him, and again, I think did Ethan O'Neill miss the last game against Wigan? Was that one of the ones
yes,
he was injured for?
He was injured.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was injured.
So you look at that. And because obviously Nsembe's one of Wigan's biggest threat, like you said, the top tackle buster in Super League. So I think it just goes to show, and this again, it's funny because he lines up perfectly to my point I was making earlier about these Queensland Cup fringe NRL players. Nobody had heard of Ethan O'Neill before this season. Nobody.
No.
So, and he's going toe to toe with the person who we are saying is nailed on 11 for England.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that just says everything about the quality you can uncover in these competitions and what they can add to Super League and really make our competition better.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. Now, one of the things that I forgot, and it's just come back into my head, and I wanted to chat to you about this when we were doing Hanging a Banging, so forgive me, folks. I just want to go back to this. One of the things that is really annoying me in the last few weeks, is, again, we're talking about a weekend that has just gone where we've had exceptional fare. None more so than KR Leeds. None more so. And rather than use the airtime post-game to wax lyrical about our great sport, we saw Brian Carney with Jake Connor give an interview that I found very distasteful. He had to answer the same question wrapped up in a different way at least 5 times. We've seen George Williams given man of the match against, I think it was FC, because he's off to Australia and we want to ask him about Australia. I'm getting a bit tired of this, if I'm being honest. Your thoughts, Greg?
I agree. I said it last week that the only reason Williams was given man of the match last week was so they could question him on his decision to return to Australia. And I agree. It is it's poor journalism is what it is. And I speak, experience of that. It's poor journalism. It's making the headlines. It's bringing agendas in when we don't need them. We just need to recognise who the best players on the pitch are. If that is George Williams, if that is Jake Connor, talk about the game. Don't talk about the issues and the agendas around the game. I agree with you 100%, Dave. It's disingenuous is the word, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to come to Joel last for a reason. Steph, the Connor interview, it was just a bad look for the sport. What are we doing? They're looking for headlines and not actually doing for me. We're at a point in our game where we need to promote our game. That did nothing to promote our game.
It's time and place. I have no problem with players being asked those questions.
Five
Do it
times.
on things like, no, I don't agree with asking it repeatedly. But I think even to the point of why they're even asking those questions straight after a game. Talk about the phenomenal game that's just been. Ask him about how he, do the John Wells board where they break down a play. That's what we want to see as rugby league fans. I couldn't give 2 hoots about whether Jake Connor's been selected in the England squad straight after the KR Leeds game. I wanted to decipher that wonderful match we've just watched. So that for me is the problem. If you want to discuss his selection, get him on the bench podcast or whatever with Jenna, and they can do it there. Not straight after a game, because that's not the place and time to do it. And also it brings a mockery into our sport a little bit. And we go on about people got the things in a bow about Derek Beaumont banging a drum behind behind Adrian Lamb at Catalan. What's more embarrassing? To me, that was more embarrassing than that.
Yeah, Ben Mackler in the chat saying he didn't get the man of the match. It was Miller. I'm not saying he did, but he was interviewed at the end of the game, and maybe Connor should have known exactly what that was all about. I mean, for me, I think Lee should have pulled it and said, "There's only one reason they're getting you in, mate."
Contract, you have to give media interviews.
Well, I get that, but it's not necessarily that one. I think for me, really, really bad show. Joel, I'm bringing you in last because actually this has continued today. Have you seen the Luke Robinson pre-match press conference yet?
Yes.
So you will agree with me that entire press conference was almost asking Luke Robinson that he's next to be sacked. That was pretty much the level of journalism that we got. There was hardly anything about Wigan, Huddersfield. It was all about Danny Maguire. It was positioned as, have you got any thoughts over Danny? And then from that point in, it was all about, are you worried? And all the rest of it. Again, what on earth? What on earth? Hardly any of it was Wigan against Huddersfield.
Exactly. I did think that myself. The big takeaway for me on that one was I was quite impressed with Luke's response. He said, listen, without saying it so direct, he said, this ain't Castleford. This is Huddersfield. Ken's backing me. Back off. And that's basically what I got from that. And this Jake Connor debate has gone on for years. This has gone back to when he originally played for us before this previous time. They did the same. I remember they did the same. Where I remember Steve-O even asking Danny Brough, why are you not playing for England? And I remember him saying, he says, England don't want me, Scotland do. But back then you could be a bit more honest. Now you so have to be so politically correct. And I thought as well, Jake Connor did really well. He handled himself really, really well.
He looked so uncomfortable. And again, as the great entertainers that they are, I don't think he deserved that. He deserved to come off that field, as Steph rightly said. Talk about the game. Talk about the game. It was a wonderful game of rugby league. They had an opportunity there of talk. And, for once, actually, and we mentioned this, John Wells' commentary, there's a lot of our guys that talk about his standard of commentary, but we'd all agree his post-match at the wall with a player who used to be a fascinating watch for the purists in terms of, how you deconstruct defences, etc. That had been a better use of the time after a game like that than the dribble that was brought up. And, you know, we're disruptors here at Super League Raw. We might not make many friends. I don't know if we are making friends or not. We don't. Look, we're calling it straight. That's not acceptable. It's not acceptable. Sell the game. We're not interested in clickbait. We're not interested in that. He's not picked him. That's for Jake Connor to worry about and for us as fans to deliberate over. It's not for a Sky Sports pundit 15 minutes after a game, after a brilliant game of rugby league, to ask the same question 5 times for an answer that none of us are interested in. What we're interested in, it was the great game of rugby league that we just saw. Give your heads a wobble. I'm getting off my soapbox, but I felt it was an important conversation for us 4 to have this evening, and I hope people in the chat completely agree with that. Right, Super League Raw. If you're new to us, you might not know about this. The Ashes Game 2. The only way to get there potentially is through Super League Raw. We are giving 2 people the opportunity with our competition of going to the new Everton Stadium on the 1st of November for the England versus Australia Ashes Game 2. You can enter for £10 for 10 entries into that competition. The draw will take place live on Super League Raw Weekly the week after the grand final. Will you win those coveted pair of tickets for the new Everton Stadium on the 1st of November? Will you be coming with Super League Raw to England versus Australia? The only way to do it is go to www.superleagueraw.com, go to the shop, get your tickets, make it happen. You could be winning that. Let me tell you now, if you're spending money on the lottery, you've got a far better chance in terms of odds of winning those 2 tickets than you have becoming a multi-millionaire. And some would argue you're a millionaire if you're seeing the great game of rugby league, Ashes Game 2, England against Australia live. Oh, yes, happy days. Right, it's now time to pass over to the love machine himself.
This is Joel Scholes with your Fantasy League update. Let's see who the movers and shakers are for this week.
I really had to compose myself then, Dave. Thank you very much. So we've got, it's actually quite nice to see who we've got in the team this week. A few new faces, some coming back from injury, which is good. So yeah, we've got Josh Rourke at fullback with 74 points. Tessie New with 66. Reece Martin with 72. Lachlan Walmsley with 73. Had a really good game, didn't he? We mentioned that earlier in the show. Sam Halsall with 52. Tui Lolohea with 75. Harry Smith with 64. That'd be a good pairing to see, wouldn't it, if we saw in the same team? And then Elliot Minchella with 74. Curtis Surinam with 57. Ben Curry with 65. He had some incredible numbers this week, did Ben. Great to watch. George Lawler putting a good performance at Cass this week, even though they lost, of course, but 65 points for George. And Paul Vaughan with 64. And Moses Mbai with 54 points. So that's the top performers for this week. And then we're going to have a look now at our podium. So we've got Stuart Scaife, who is currently in 3rd. He's got the merch, the Super League Raw merchandise, which is definitely worth its weight in its money. So if you've got a membership, that's already paid for that and some with the merch there. Neil Ormston has got his hand on his he's got 6, so they got one hand on his replica shirt for next year. But Alan Bagley got his one hand on his season ticket for next year. It's very, very close at the top. I'm talking within 100 points and less there. So when you're looking at the top 3, we've obviously gone through the top 3, but in 4th, we've got Alan Bagley again. In 5th, David Moore. 6th, we've got Stephen Broomfield. 7th, Neil Ormston again. 8th, Liam Cannon. 9th, we've got Stuart Scaife. And 10th, we've got Mark Arnell. But surprisingly, though, the person who scored the highest amount of points this week was down in 128th. And it was John Wall with 730 points. So that'll have shot him up the table quite a bit. So well done, John, there. We have seen some higher scores, but it's always hard to predict. And if you're like me, if you haven't looked at your fantasy league because you do this every week, it makes it quite difficult. So that's the highest scorer for this week.
Well done, Mr. Scholes. Absolutely outstanding fair. Congratulations to those people who are in winning positions. Of course, we'll keep an eye on that throughout the season. Will you be a part of the Super League Raw Fantasy League 2026? Great prizes there. Season tickets, replica shirts, yada, yada, yada. Nothing beats Super League Raw membership. Become a member today. Be a part of this wonderful, wonderful community. It really is getting bigger and better all of the time. Go to www.superleagueraw.com for more information. Right then, boys, let's get into the round that is to come. We've done really good with the time because we've still got to announce the player of the month. That's coming. Don't put your answers in the chat just yet. We will come to that as well. But right, let's first of all check in on how we fared last week. And here we go. I don't actually understand why that picture's up there. We'll get rid of that. Get rid of that. We don't need that. There you go. That's better. And we'll bring Joel in. People don't want to see my face anyway. Right, there you go. That's how it works. The members, 242 points for them. They lead Greg now by a solitary point. A good week for the Nixon. Mr. Nixon, 12 last week. Good effort, mate.
Not bad, that.
Not bad. It was
Not go wrong this week.
Pretty low scoring week. That said, Steph Sale, 14, the highest scorer on the week, takes him up to third. He's overtook the non-members now at 223. Speaking of the non-members, the website will go live tomorrow for you to be giving your predictions. We will announce your predictions on the Captain's Run live, 6 p.m. this coming Thursday. If you've not discovered the Captain's Run yet, where have you been? 6 p.m. on our YouTube channel every Thursday live. The Captain's Run will let you know the non-members and Earl Crabtree's predictions on the Captain's Run. Good effort from them. Then Mr. Scholes. Mr. Scholes, you last week got 11 points. Well done, sir. I got a shocking 8, and Mr. Crabtree got 11 as well. So that's how the prediction league looks. The members holding on by the skin of their teeth over the Nixon, who continues to get giddy. Can he do it? 5th year of asking. We'll wait and we will see. Is it the 5th year or the 4th year? 4th year of asking. Or is it 5th? Is it the 5th year, Greg? I'm losing time. Is it 5 years? It's 5th. It's 5th year, dear me. Doesn't time fly? Yeah. Oh, and by the way, in other Super League Raw news, here's one for you boys, right? In other Super League Raw news, in the next 7 days, we will hit 1,000 videos uploaded to YouTube since our birth. We're about to get to the 1,000. So how many hours of entertainment that is, I do not know. What I do know is it is worth a latte a month at $4.99 to become a Super League Raw member. It's well worth that. Right, let's get into the games for this week. What a beauty. Beauty. We're going to get into these in a minute. Oh, yes. Hull FC against the Trin. That should be a belter. Then the Wigan Warriors, who desperately, for me, need a statement win. Coming up against the resurgent Giants. Giants will want a revenge for Dewsbury. That'll be interesting. Then a great game at Headingley. Brilliant game. Can Leeds. Of course, Leeds lost out to Saints at the Totally Wicked a few weeks ago. They will be looking to bite back on that. And again, we're talking about Leeds potentially a top 2. What would it say about Saints if they went to Headingley and got a win? That would be very interesting indeed. Then a great game down at the LSV. Of course, Lee coming off the back of a brilliant win over the Wigan Warriors. Can they control the emotion of that? Can they go again? Imagine if Lee could topple first and second 2 weeks running. That'd be a story and a narrative, wouldn't it? I think KR will have a bit to say about that. It won't be as easy of the words that are coming out of my mouth, that's for sure. Then, of course, the Dragons against the Wire. For any Wire fan out there, yeah, you're probably right. Expect Warrington to proper trip up there. Then Salford Red Devils taking on the Castleford Tigers with Chris Chester back in the dugout for that one. That will be interesting indeed. Right, gentlemen, let's work through these. Here we go. The squads are in. The squads are in for the Thursday night game. As you can see, going across the bottom of the screen, the players that are out. Before we get into your monologues in terms of how you think that this game will go, we've got a bit of time. I'm going to start with Joel because he's underneath me. It's just the way it's fallen, boys. I'm just going with the flow. I'm just going with the flow. Don't take it personally. But Joel, Deneve Ballanforth, I thought they missed very similar, and Greg would agree with this, at Benny Hartle in the 9 position for Warrington. I think Benny had a bit of zip from dummy half that I think he's lacking at the moment from Warrington. I just question Deneve going to Catalan. Was that the right call? Because for me, we know that Borough's the starting 9, but I think they're lacking that that Deneve could give him. I'm just throw that out to you. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, you look how the Super League has evolved over the years. Now, you used to have your nines play the full 80 minutes, but that isn't the case so much anymore. You tend to have two nines. You've got your starting nine, and then you've got your bench nine, and that's quite an important and pivotal position. So yeah, I think it was a bit of I was quite shocked. I won't say it's a bit of a bad move, but I think he was coming through with some very impressive performances for his age, and I thought he was just going to get better over time. And I think for you to do that when you're so young, to move over to a different club, I think it can sometimes help you, but it can also sometimes hinder you. And I think that's a thing right now where FC could have done with just having that extra part in your squad. Borough's obviously playing very well, but Bamford is also a cracking player. We've seen that when they've been so low on injuries.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Right, let's go through it. Steph, we'll start with you because you're next up. Over to you. Hull FC against Wakey Trinity. You can see the players that are missing there at the bottom of the screen. Your thoughts on this one?
So it's another tough one for FC. Obviously, being at home again, still not got this monkey off the back in terms of the home win. Can they get against Trin? I just can't see it. I just can't see it. The way Trinity are playing at the moment. I think Trinity are probably playing better attacking. Well, it's not probably, it's a fact they're playing better attacking rugby than St Helens, and I can see them scoring more points than what St Helens did in this game. I can't see FC scoring more against Wakefield. I just can't see in this one. So I'm unfortunately for the FC fans, I'm going to go for a convincing Wakefield win here. I think they're gonna put 18 plus on them.
That's a big shout. That absolutely massive shout. For the eagle-eyed amongst you, Greg, Oliver Russell named in the 21-man squad back from injury. Still no Jake Truman. Me and Steph were talking, I think it was around unpacked in terms of, do you upset the apple cart? Russell's not getting in over Lino. Do you upset the apple cart? Because Rourke at fullback and Jowett at standoff's working, isn't it?
Yeah, Rourke was outstanding. Jowett was outstanding. I thought Wakefield as a team gelled really well. For me, I think sometimes coaches make the mistake of bringing players back in and upset a winning side because of past performances, the name. I think they'll stick with the same side this week. Maybe we'll see those players come onto the bench, or at least one of them come onto the bench. If I was a coach, I wouldn't upset the apple cart with this one. I would keep the same 17. I'll keep the same 13, sorry, and maybe jiggle the bench around a bit. I'm with Steph. I think Hull are struggling at home at this moment in time. I think Wakey they've just hit the straps. I'm not going quite as a convincing winner as Steph is. I'm going 9-17 for Wakey. I don't think Hull will win this, but I wouldn't be surprised if Wakey won by more than that. But I'm being a little bit conservative here, and I'm going Wakey 9-17.
Joel, Wakey last week in that first half would probably have blown many teams away. They were absolutely sumptuous in that first half against the Catalan Dragons. We know that FC have got massive turmoil at home. They just can't win. Can you see anything but a trim win on this one?
Well, this is the thing, and this year has come up with so many surprises, some results that we never thought would have happened. Yes, Wakefield are playing incredible. FC can't win at home, but at what point do they win at home? Surely they must win one. I'm not saying it's this one, but I think they're going to be putting up a good fight for it. I think with FC have got a little bit of a habit at the moment of kind of coming up with performances when they think they won't, and then losing when we think they've got half a chance. So, based on the laws of probability, I am going for a Wakefield win, but I'm only going 1-8 because I think FC are going to put a fight up, thinking that they're going to win one finally at home, and just fall short at the death.
It's a fascinating game. It's a fascinating game. It really, really is. I don't know if you can see me t-shirt. I didn't realise I still had this, but remember, stop the season now, boys. Stop the season now. Do you remember that? That's what Wakey will be saying if they get into the top 6. Absolutely outstanding fair. Look, Wakey, for me and my guilty pleasure, have said that this weekend on In the Sheds. Loving what Darryl Powell's done down there. Redemption. I just say that. Redemption. Incredible. Really pleased for Darryl Powell. Andy Bibby, he's got FC 1-6. Carla Collier, Wakey 9-17. Craig 4th. That's a great comment, Craig, to be fair to you. Trim will go out to win. FC will go out not to lose. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Completely agree with that. Wakey 18 plus, says Tom Massa. Yeah, Paul Fairley's gone Trin. Nigel Wood's gone Trin by 1-8 like you, Joel. Mark Smith, Wakey 9-17. Wakey 18 plus, Paul Boardman, he's gone the way of Steph. Nicola Burtonwood, Wakey 9-17. No love at all for FC. I think there's got to be some sort of reaction for FC. I think they've been very, very poor the last few weeks. I really do. And I think they've got to start to somehow show a bit more. It was a grinding game. I think I said this on Final Whistle to Volstagg, and he agreed with me that our St. Helens member. Wakey are a far, far better attacking side than St. Helens. Far better. I'm going Wakey. 9-17, just because I think Hull FC might just up the levels a little bit to prevent an 18-point blowout. Can Wakey be that good 2 weeks running as well? We will wait and see. But one thing's for certain, if Wakey are that good, Steph, I think, might just be on the money. Right, we now move across to the Brick Community Stadium. And Craig Forth actually has wrote a brilliant, brilliant article that will go live on our website first thing in the morning, inviting people to join him and the Wigan Warriors and the Huddersfield Giants fans at the Brick Community Stadium. 1, to watch the great game of rugby league, but 2, to be a part of a celebration for Billy Boston. Craig has done a great article from the heart. So make sure that you read that tomorrow. That'll be live on our website, superleagueraw.com, tomorrow morning. Well done, Craig. Great effort, sir. Right, Wigan against the Huddersfield Giants. Steph, we'll start with you because, of course, the bus stop is truly mightier than the pie. Wigan, they'll be hurt. I mean, they were hurt after Wakey, but they'll be very hurt now. It's fair to say the pastry's flaky. It's a soggy bottom. Can they go back in the oven and get fully baked? Over to you.
Well, I think they will be smarting from that league game. Matty Pete himself has said they treat the Leigh match, with the same regard as the St. Helens game now. It's they build up for it like a grand final game. They want to win it that much. So it will be smarting for them. And I'm fully expecting to see a reaction. And by reaction, I mean changing of some players. And I think he's got to really look at Marshall and Miskey there for me, both of who underperformed through injury. You could clearly tell that they're not fit. And I think he admitted after the game he'd asked them to do a job for him, even though they're not 100%. So I'd like to see Eckersley moving to at least one of these, and maybe even, is it Douglas, the other young lad,
or Wade? Could
Wade?
Is this the perfect opportunity for him to birth Wade? Because I mean, if you look on the Wigan pages, the seething over the Marshall Miskey decision. I mean, that's what makes Matt Pete such an average coach.
Yeah, and to be fair, I think with hindsight they have got a point, but the difference is that's with hindsight, isn't it? If Wigan go out and beat Leigh and Marshall scores 2, Matty Pete's the greatest coach in the world again, isn't it? So it's one of them.
Just a disclaimer for the people on the podcast: I did laugh when I said that about Matty Pete. Carry on, Steph.
Yeah. Yes. Hindsight is the useless tool, but I think what we will see this week is Matty Pete's coaching skills, and he will make changes in that area. And I'd be amazed if Eckersley's not picked after that. So it will be a much stronger team, and I think the only thing that are going to undo Huddersfield is the pitch is massive at Wigan. It's a huge pitch, very wide. Fits Wigan's way of playing perfectly, and I expect them to bounce back. So I think they're going to, unfortunately for my mate Joel, I think they're going to beat Huddersfield, and I think it'll be 9-17.
Well, I know what Joel was thinking there. First half of the Brick Community early in the season, they had Wigan and they had them by the throat. Can they do it for 80 minutes? I know what you're thinking, big fella. Henry the 8 up there, he's going to do to you what he did to Anne Boleyn. You know what I mean? If you carry on talking like that, you know what I'm saying? Catherine Howard all over again. Anyway, over to Reggie. Reggie, over to you, sir. Can Wigan bounce back?
You know what? You were right about the Giants. They almost had Wigan.
They did.
You know, Giants have improved. As I said earlier on, they've improved week on week recently with players coming back. As Joel says, Lola Hay has been freed up. You know, Woodford's back. I like him. I think Giants are not the team that they were at the beginning of the season. Wigan they'll be hurting. I think they have to sort the issues out from the last game that were quite obvious to see, as we've already discussed. I think 18 plus Wigan.
Wow.
Sorry.
Right.
Sorry.
Well, fair enough. Just going back quickly, the members at the moment are going 9-17 Trin for the first game. They're going 9-17 Wigan for this game. Joel, disappointed in the Luke Robinson presser that Oliver Wilson will be missing, having had a great game against Castle. That's a hammer blow for you going into this game. Ollie's been magnificent this season. It's not beyond the realms, because let's be fair, you had an injured squad that you know, again, attitude. I mean, many would say that Wigan came with the wrong attitude and Huddersfield came with the right attitude. And in Rugby League, if that happens, those first halves can happen. They corrected it at half time, and of course, they blew you away in the second half. Very close at Dewsbury. Steph, right though, will the pitch beat you at the brick?
It's a very big possibility, and you do have to take that into consideration. Because of that, having Ollie out doesn't make it as much of a death blow for us. And I say death blow because there's every possibility that we've got a chance of possibly beating them now than what we would have had at the start of the season. What you've got to appreciate, the fact is, like, Jacob Gaga is really coming into his stride now. You're starting to see him playing a little bit more expansive, especially on the wing. George Flanagan's really starting to find his feet now at fullback. Going up against someone like Farrimond is going to be quite interesting to see how you know the battle of the fullback goes. I think the good thing about Ollie going out gives the opportunity to Fenton Rogers coming in, who was a very potent forward. Not had a chance to play much, but he is a very, very potent forward. He kind of reminds me very much of like your Lawatiti, your old school type forwards. Almost like a Mozza, almost kind of stature trying to play. I think he's got a really good opportunity to push forward as Fenton. He's a great guy, great lad, and he's a very good forward. He's of course not yet at Ollie's caliber, but he has to play these games to be able to get there. And Burgess has been playing better. He has been playing better. I think he had his best game in the season so far last week.
Is that because he's coming off the bench, mate? He's more impacts, isn't he? He had played a lot from the start, and I think since he's gone to the bench, he's looked a bit more potent, hasn't he?
That's right. And I think with George King coming in and doing what he's done, even though George never does anything flashy or quite incredible, he does his job as a prop. Yeah. You know, a prop isn't to be flashy. You know, you're just meant to make your meters. Post-contact meters is the biggest thing for a prop. You know, I don't care what anyone says, that is the biggest thing. You know, because at the end of the day, you know, we've said it 100 million times, props win the game and the backs by how many. And that is what has put us aside from other clubs in the league since having players back. I'd gone Wigan 9-17 without knowing Ollie was out, because it was touch and go whether Ollie was going to be in. But seeing as the injection hasn't worked, he's going to be out for a few weeks. I'm going to stick with 9-17. I'm not going to be disrespectful to my club. I have been quite a bit over the past year or two. But we've been playing well. And I hope I'm wrong, and I hope everybody in the comments wrong. I hope that we can come and beat them, because if we do beat them, that's a statement win. And that shows then that the realms of possibilities of possibly making a top six is, even though it's very unlikely.
Steady. I think what it would do is it would put a big smile on the faces of fans who this year have stuck with the club And mate, you're getting ahead of yourself there.
No, Dave.
It's
Dave,
not happening, Chief.
It's not impossible.
No.
I said it's very unlikely, but you can't say it's impossible because it's not.
Anyway, Steph, Steph, you need to go. Do us a favour, Steph. Jump in your car, drive up to Huddersfield, and put his glass down. That ain't happening, Chief. It ain't. I love you a bit.
I said very unlikely. I said not impossible.
It is impossible.
It's not.
I believe it is. But anyway, love it a bit, but I think that's a step too far. But it'd be a good win for you. It will be a good win for you. Let's get into the chat. Ollie Stokes, he's gone Wakey 8 to wrong game. Aiden Simpson, Wigan 18 plus. Jono 18 plus Wigan. Jill 9 to 17. John Bowman 18 plus. A lot of love for the pies. Andy Bibby's got pies in there at 18 plus for Oldstag. I mean, that sticks in his throat. That he's gone the pies 18 and all. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Make sure they tune in though and watch the tribute to Sir Billy Bosman.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What an absolute gentleman of our game. You know, like he was a personal friend of my granddad. Got the freedom of the Wigan Borough at the same time. Absolutely outstanding person. And I just hope everyone can tune in on Friday night and watch that, because there won't be a dry eye in the house, and no better person deserving of a knighthood in rugby league than him.
And what we know about the great game of rugby league, it will be done, and it'll be done very, very well. Right, let's move on to Headingley. Leeds Rhinos against the Saints. Now, I'll tell you, this is an interesting one. Greg, I'm going to start with you. Last week on Captain's Run, we picked out Dagnall going up against Barron. We weren't disappointed. Steph's been asking for a long time, where's Riley Lum gone? If I actually think about it, it won't be Lum, will it? It will be actually Ryan Hall. So this is a massive test for Dagnall. I think Dagnall plays. I think Dagnall has been outstanding for the Saints. But this, very like Felt and Martin. Felt did Martin, did him. You know, that was experience, everything about it. You know, Martin had a bit of an education at the weekend for Lesson. He'll be better for it. Dagnall, like Jake Fulis earlier in the season, is about to come up against one of the best pros that we've ever had. How do you think Owen Dagnall will fare, and how do you think this game will go?
I think Dagnall will do okay, to be honest. Hall is a beast of a winger, isn't he? I mean, he'd be a prop in any other team. He's a beast of a winger. He's fast. He's big. He plays to try like. It will be a test for Dagnall, and he has to stand up to him. He has to kind of prove that he's a new kid on the block, if you like. It will definitely be a test for the lad. As far as the game goes, Rhinos are on a roll, aren't they? That was a great win. That was a great win at the weekend. Yeah, some may argue that Hull KR missed Mikey Lewis for a large part of the game. But the defence was solid. They closed down KR really well. Their attack for that try was sensational. And I think Rhinos are going to win this. I think Saints are going to give them a good game. I think it's going to be Rhinos 1-8.
Fair enough. Joel, your thoughts on Leeds against Saints?
Yeah, this is going to be a really, really good game. I'm really looking forward to watching this one. Saints have been really good, far better than they have been at the first half of the season. So they're going to be buoyed by that. They're going to really want to give it to Leeds. But the issue is that Leeds are playing so well. I just don't see where they're going to be losing next, and that's the truth of it. I think I have got Leeds 1-8 because I think Saints are going to really give them a good accounting for themselves. But Leeds are going to be just that bit too strong. Their defence this season is out of this world. I think is it only KR that's better defensively. So yeah, I think that's going to be the thing that determines it.
Saints are going to need those players that can't tackle bus to play well. But yeah, and the likes of Morgan Knowles as well. Knowles has been in great form. Steph, I think the big question for Leeds is, you know, to coin a phrase by Danny Maguire, have they fallen in love with themselves having beaten KR? Can they back up against Saints? That's the big question for me. And again, if Leeds overcome the Saints, we talk about statements, that would suggest to me that Leeds are very much in contention for a top two.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's more about falling in love with themselves. I think it's more about how much is it taken out of them. to go to Craven Park. You know, they celebrated that win akin to this is going to sound disrespectful, not like a Challenge Cup win, but like a cup win a little bit. That's how it felt, you know, in the ground with them celebrating, and it's whether that's taken anything out of them. It was a phenomenal effort for them to go to Craven Park and do that. And sometimes we see teams kick on from it. Sometimes we see a bit of an effect from that, you know, because it has meant so much to them. It was a massive marker they put down going there and beating KR, huge. So it's how they respond to it, and we'll learn a lot from Leeds from that. And I think we'll probably learn more about how they play against St Helens than they did against KR. So it's a huge game. This one, it's probably bigger than Reggie's head this evening on screen. That's how big it is. So, so, so yeah, no, it's a massive game, and it's got the good thing with this game as well is it's got implications throughout the whole of the potential playoff teams as well. You know, whoever wins this one, it does a knock-on effect. So I'm really looking forward to this one. I think it's going to be a classic game. Breaking news!
Go
on. Joffa has won his appeal against his points deduction. So not that's the big thing in terms of winning an appeal. The thing, if it had gone against him, would have meant he'd have missed the whole KR game.
We're talking about Lee in a minute. Keep it Leeds Saints.
Well, it was breaking news.
Yeah, well, it's not that big a breaking news. Carry on.
Saints 1-8.
Well done. Right, okay, into the chat. Oliver Stokes leads 9-17. Mark Smith leads 1-8 home advantage. Saints 1-8 says Carla. Carla Colley. Good evening, Carla, mate. Nigel Wood 1-8. Jill leads 9-17. Garabo Saints 1-8. So split. It is split. But we've all gone Leeds. I've gone Leeds 1-8. I think it'll be. They tend to be tight. And I think this one will be tight. And let's not forget as well, Leeds have got a shocking record against Saints. You talk about hoodoos. They need to get this one off the back for me. They need to put on a performance. Right, we now move to the one at the LSV. Cracking game, this one. Greg, I'll start with you. KR off the back of a bad loss for them. I mean, not a bad loss in terms of it was a great game, but they will be stinging from that. No Mikey Lewis as well, which is a big blow for them. They've got to find answers. Richardson back, but that pretty much is 2 sevens. May and Richardson, they're 2 sevens. Will Jez Litton go into the hours? We know they've done that. Will Leyland come in, and will it be Mickey Mack? Question. Your thoughts, mate? Your thoughts on this? Should be a belter.
Oh, I'm really looking forward to this game. This is, for me, the game of the weekend, as far as I'm concerned. KR will be stinking. Lee will be absolutely on cloud 9 after that win last week. They won the Battle of the Borough. There were some outstanding performances throughout the team for Lee last week. KR looked good until Mikey Lewis went off, and they've got to find a way. They've got to find a way to get around that Lewis is missing this weekend. They've got to fill that gap. Will it be Richardson? I get a sneaky feeling it might be Litton that comes in, as you say, because it'll be 2 sevens otherwise. I could be proven 100% wrong on that one. I'm going back to an old argument. This is probably on your bingo sheet, that it is very, very difficult sometimes to back up a win against Wigan. There's a lot of emotion, a lot of adrenaline, a lot of physical ability, physical effort. Even, if Wigan aren't at the best, for a team like Lee, for a team like Warrington, for a team like Saints, it's their game of the season. And I'm going to go KR 1-8, but I think this could very well be a golden point. I'm going KR 1-8.
Fair enough. Joel, we're going to have to start speeding up, boys. We've got 12 minutes left. Joel?
Yeah, pretty much like Reggie said, very very tiring for Lee. It had KR won at the weekend, I was going to go Lee to win this game, but because of that, I just think they're going to be a bit more careful. They're going to be a bit more disciplined and not throw the ball around as much. But I think they're going to just get the job done 1-8, and that's purely just because they lost, and they're going to bounce back.
Yeah, the members have gone Lee 1-8, which is interesting. In the chat, a lot of love for Lee. Volstag's gone KR 1-8. I'll be honest with you, Steph. I'd have gone KR 9-17. Had it not been for last week's results. Because of last week's results, I'm bringing it into 1-8. I think KR's still just. based on form, season, etc. But I think it'll be a tight one. It'll be a must-watch game this on Saturday afternoon. Go on, mate. Talk about your team. Who are you backing?
I think that's a perfectly reasonable. This is the team that sat at the top of the Super League and only lost 2 games all season. So yeah, rightly it should be that. I think that breaking news we've just had in is massive because that was a big risk from Lee there. If that had gone against him, off Angway would have been banned. So and we know Robbie Mulhern's already missing for this one as well. So to lose 2 of your starting 2 props would have been massive against this KR thing. So brilliant news for Lee that he'll be able to play. Mikey's obviously a massive loss, would be for any team. The question is, will they put Lytton in there? Will they play Richardson? I think that's a big call for Willie Peters. So that's going to be very interesting in terms of who stays. And probably difficult for Lee as well because they've got to work, 2 different halves there and plan for 2 different halves as well. So that's going to be an interesting one. Looking like another sellout crowd as well at Leeds Sports Village, which is fantastic. Lots of Hull KR fans coming over. It's going to be a massive occasion. Lee are going to win 1-8.
Lee are going to win 1-8. And the real breaking news, ladies and gentlemen, forget this Joffa nonsense. To all our Robins fans, I'll be there on Saturday. Look forward to seeing you. Right, okie dokie. Let's move over to Perpignan.
Are you signing autographs as well in the cricket club?
Well, yeah, autographs, selfies. I'm there. Joel, over to you for this one. Catline Dragons, Warrington Wolves. We really are pushed for time. Quick as you can, Joel.
Catlan's 9-17, shocker.
9-17, the Cats.
Sorry.
No, mate.
I've got reasons, but we haven't got time to talk about it. So,
well, you need to send them in. Maybe come on, Captain's Run on Thursday. Steph, your thoughts?
I think Reggie's big head's just exploded. I think it's going to be a really close game. This actually really close, golden point potentially. But I am going to go Catalan 1-8.
Wow, says a lot, that, doesn't it? I mean, it really is. He's saying a lot. You probably, I can understand it. Greg, your thoughts?
2 teams not playing to the best of their abilities. Warrington were poor against Salford, albeit that Salford actually put it together and were good for a lot of that game. Wire will win because they have to win, and I'm going Wire 9-17.
That's a bold statement. I did this last week. I'm going to do it again. I think Warrington will scrape it 1-8. I don't see Warrington blowing this one out. I think they'll make hard work of it. Hopefully they just get over the line and keep the noses in that playoff contention, but wouldn't surprise me if they lost. And then finally, a bit more juicy this one actually, considering what's happened in the last 24 hours. Salford taking on Castleford. I had Salford based on their performance against Warrington to actually do Cass. Steph, does what happened in the last 24 hours change your mind?
It doesn't change my mind. I already know what I was going for. I'm going for Super League Raw royalty Matt Timms to get his 2nd win of the season. I'm going Salford 1-8.
Salford 1-8. Greg?
I saw a lot in Salford's performance last week to be hopeful for. I think Cass will bounce back though, 9-17 to Cass. Sorry, Matt.
No, big win for Cass, 17.
On Friday, by the way.
Joel?
The fact that Donny's been recalled would make he's a big blow. Would make a difference. And because of that, before I thought Donny was playing, I did go Salford 1-8, and I'm going to stick with Salford 1-8. From what we've seen last week from Salford, very impressed. Very impressed. I think there's a 2nd win coming somewhere.
So you think Salford 1-8?
I'm going to stick with it. I made my decision. I'm going to stick with it.
Righto. I think Cass 1-8. I think that could swing it. I think what's happening, I was going to go Salford, but I think the fact that has happened, Mike and Danny Richardson being recalled, might just swing it. The members on that one have gone the Tigers 9-17. That's a big one. Right, in the chat, where the Tigers are concerned, let's have a quick look. Catalan's getting a lot of love, pretty much 50-50. Apologies for the shout-outs. We've, of course, got to announce very quickly the Super League Raw Player of the Month for the month of June. You know it's the 1 to 13. Here it is on the screen again. Let's just remind you who they are. And very quickly, I'm going to go around the screen. Joel, starting with you. Player of the month for June. Which of those 1 to 13 do you think it's going to be?
Jack Broadbent, Ben Curry. I'm going with Jack Broadbent.
Steph?
I was saying Broadbent.
And Greg?
Jay Field.
Jay Field. And of course, we do not speak about this. The boys are as in the dark as everybody who's watching. Get your things in the chat. Here we go. Oh, we give it away again. Done it again. Did it again. Can't believe it. Guess who it's going to be?
Jack Broadbent.
It's Jack Broadbent. Oh, dear Lord.
Long again, Reg.
Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Yes, Jack Broadbent. And rightly so. I mean, Jack Broadbent, incredible tune. Incredible tune. No matter where they play him, he's just come up trumps for KR. He really, really has. So many congratulations to Jack Broadbent. For me, you know, very few people will be giving Jack perhaps the player of the month, but we here at Super League Raw, we see it. Outstanding, massive future. Not letting anybody down at the Robins. It's a privilege to watch this lad playing a great side, but actually not be overawed by it. To actually be playing alongside his brothers and believing that he deserves to be there. So absolutely outstanding. So well done to Jack Broadbent. Massive congratulations to him. Steph, any word on Liam Hall?
Breaking news. The club can confirm, this is from Castleford, Liam Horn's trial was unsuccessful. His ban has been upheld. Yeah,
unbelievable. Exactly. Incredible, isn't it? Incredible when you consider what happened to Reece Martin. But anyway, that's a whole different story. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you've enjoyed another great edition of Super League Raw. Sorry for those last couple of predictions going so quick, but hey, you've got the captain's run on Thursday, so you'll get all the good juicy stuff on that on Thursday night at 6 o'clock. On behalf of the entire panel and myself, come on, join that membership. You know it makes sense. We will be back next week for more Super League Raw Weekly at 8 p.m. You can't beat a bit of weekly. Here come the top performers and what you've got to look forward to over the course of the weekend. Bye for now. Here are your top performers after 17 rounds of the Betfred Super League. Still leading the try-scoring charts with 18 is Jay Field of the Wigan Warriors. The most try assists continue to come from Lee Leopard's Lachlan Lamb. He's now on 24. The most meters made this season have come from Liam Marshall of the Wigan Warriors, 2,578. The most clean breaks have come from Mikey Lewis of the Robins. He's on 22. And the top tackler continues to be Oliver Partington of Catalan Dragons, 709. We have a brand new top tackle buster. It's Lockie Miller of the Leeds Rhinos on 104, taking over from Junior in December. Whilst the most hard meters made, you've got to be a prop forward, second row loose forward in this one is still Alex Walmsley of St Helens, 2,138. The most offloads have continued to come from Tafita Pangai Jr. of the Catalan Dragons. He's on 35. Whilst Artemore continues to lead the goal-kicking charts with 59 for the Robins. These are your top performers after 17 rounds of the Betfred Super League.